So I thought I'd do this little video on this new toy I bought for the property. So we already had a tractor, Kubota BX, but you can see the scale of the trees we're cleaning up that kind of got damaged in the fire. Really beating the BX up, dragging these around. Kind of scaled it up a bit. I was looking at these in California where we're located, and they were going for like ridiculous money, like 20-30 grand more secondhand than we thought they kind of go for. Maybe pandemic, supposedly the dealership says they're hard to get new even. So this model is crazy. It's only 2 years old. I think it's been mistreated a lot. I looked up the company that kind of sold it. It was at an auction, so it was a big risk. And they do kind of road work, so I guess they just use them like crazy for 2 years and then get rid. The services kind of log on the side of it had all these stickers for serviced every 6 months, oil change, hydraulic fluid test. So when I saw the pictures of it, they do a really good inspection for the auction, so you can see it running. They post like 90 pictures or so. A lot of the pictures had kind of, you can see one of the front kind of pulleys there, wheels, whatever they call them. It's kind of breaking off now, but it was 100% tar and concrete, and you can see with these middle runners, these lower ones, fully packed. So the whole running gear was like that, especially these wires here where you can see this protection as it kind of penetrates inside. That you couldn't even see any of that. It was all it looked like concrete. So I was really concerned about that. But actually it just broke off really early, just with the jet spray. And just driving around here for a bit, I've probably done like 15 miles on it. It's got 2,500 miles on it. It's this model is a radial lift. They're a bit more rare, it seems. Everybody, I guess the most common one is the vertical lift. Difference being, you can see the main arm here. It's just one pivot point. So the issue with that, or the detrimental effect to that, is as you get so high, it starts to come back. So if you're going to use these for kind of loading trucks high up, you have to get much closer, or you can't even get the bucket over to where you might want it. So I guess that's why the vertical lift ones are more popular. The vertical lift ones, obviously a bit more complex. They can have 2 more linkages and a high up pivot point, so that pivot actually goes forward as the arm goes up and allows it to stay vertical. I think these have some benefits. Obviously the simplicity, less to go wrong, less to grease, better clearance from behind. I'm not sure about strength. Obviously it might be stronger having a more direct load path into the structure, but I think it's so well built they can probably handle it anyway. This thing's about 10,500 pounds, and it's got came with the counterweights on. So it's probably like 11,000 pounds of everything on it, which is pretty heavy. I arranged shipment for it, which actually went really easy. So yeah, if you're looking to buy one of these, don't rule out buying it from, this came from 2,500 miles away. And I think it cost like $3,000 all in. The quote was much lower, it was like 2,200. The tracks are really done. I guess it's been going back and forward on, aggregate all day. So they're wrecked, considering it's got 2,000 miles on it, 2,000 hours, sorry. So to be honest though, I've been using them, and for me, I'll just wait till they kind of break, because we're on mainly just like soil. So it's actually a benefit that there's not grippy tracks on, kind of really low impact. I'm sure you can get low impact tracks also, I'm not that familiar with them. If you go on the back here, it's okay. There is kind of assessing the damage, because they don't really detail everything. There's a lot of tar kind of in this inlet, so this grid filter, so it's washing out. It looks like they hit something horizontally kind of across here, so it's dinted in the door a bit, and it's marked the kind of those vertical enclosures. This tail item here looks like it's all all the paint's chipped off, but it doesn't look too bad. There is a dent under here, and there is a dent on the front kind of cabin roll bar. Looks like you can just knock that out quite easily. You can see where all this touch up is. That's really me going over it very roughly with some zinc phosphate, I think. I see underneath, this is kind of like what the whole thing was like. So it's just kind of bitumen or something stuck on it. But if you put on I bought some concrete dissolver, so I noticed if you spray that on, it'll actually, it kind of breaks down the bitumen as well. So I guess you just have to take it off quickly before it has any effects to the paintwork or anything. But I can always quickly repaint this, no worries. This little arm is something you pull the pin out, so when you put it up, it just locks in there, so you can keep the arms up safely and work under them and stuff. I've not popped the cabin yet. I might do that now and just see what kind of mess it is under there inside the that kind of hydraulic bay. I don't know what they call it. It's kind of funny. I was looking in the hole here. Probably won't want to see in here unless it adjusts. So maybe, yeah, you can kind of see it. And there were some like water bottles and grease containers full, so I used those. Came free with it. But yeah, so like whoever's working it, they just kind of stuff in anywhere. So I'd be surprised if I don't find like sleeping bags and stuff inside. Yeah, it's kind of a basic cab. It's not enclosed, so it's got no aircon or anything like that. It's got the air seat and heated seat. Mirrors kind of, it's not really broke, it's just needs tightening up, I think. It's kind of a mess inside. Kind of looking forward to cleaning it up. It's got some kind of like trapdoor blanks missing. Don't really see like a massive amount wrong with it just yet. All the hydraulics have been good. Did come with this massive 80-inch 4-in-1 bucket, which I think this is leaking a little bit, not crazy amount, but probably these seals in here. They did say some seals were leaking on the skid steer, but I think it was just this, so we weren't that specific about what was leaking. So you can kind of see similarly this concrete bitumen mess. But it chips off pretty easy. One of these pipes was damaged, so I kind of took this panel off, which was missing a bunch of screws already, and I had to chip away and like kind of wash out all the bitumen what's in there, just to get the new pipe on. So having a look inside the engine bay, we got a new battery in there. I've still got to put the restraint back on. So when they went to pick this up, they actually said in the inspection it wouldn't start and they had to jump start it. When they went to pick it up, they couldn't get it started, so the shipper actually sent something just to load it without dealing with that. So when it arrived, we just put it was really flat. We put 2 jump cables on it and it started straight up. So I stuck a new battery on for now. I was charging the original battery up. I think it's fine. It's got a parasitic load on it. I checked that at like 0.14 or 140 milliamps. So they probably had it sat for a couple of months and Just got really dead. I already changed the filters out because it was super simple. It wasn't too bad. I think they had a bunch of cement in there. I've never seen one of these kind of the D3 model without a battery cutoff, and looking at some kind of loose wires there, it doesn't look OEM, so I think they may have deleted the battery cutoff for some reason. So I'd kind of like that. I might put a toggle in the cabin with a relay here. It might be easier, just so it can trip the battery when not using it for a while. It's a Cat 3.3 engine, I think. So I think a few of the models, the 259, the 279, which is this, the 289, use the 3.3 engine. I think it's 74 horsepower, so it doesn't have the DEF stuff. But the 299 has a 3.9 engine or 8 engine, and that has all the DEF. So it's kind of a good model to buy if you want to avoid that. Back here you got the hydraulic filter, I think. So I'm going to try and do that today probably. I've heard some horror stories about what has been put in like hydraulic tanks and stuff. I'm sure it's fine, but I'm just going to pump out all the fluid. It's like 13 gallons. Pop it through the auxiliary and pump it into a drum, and then change out the filter for the hydraulic, and put some new stuff in. That's my biggest fear with this, I think, because most of the features on this are hydraulic. So fuel filter, water separator, pump, water expansion tank, fuel tank, oil filters kind of back here, I think, below the alternator. So yeah, it seems pretty easy to work on. I'm not really experienced in diesel engines at all, and I don't really know what this is. It's kind of like a bleed. I guess this is a bleed pipe or something, but I've seen that dripping quite a lot. So I need to look up what that is and what's the purpose of it, how you use it. There's a hydraulic sampler valve up here. This is cooler, like kind of horizontal cooler for hydraulics and water, I think. When you have AC goes up here, cooler, and then there's like an AC unit goes on these belts. Not took this cover off yet, so I don't know the belts are like, but you know, there's no sounds. Point to them being knackered. Backup camera is pretty cool, but it's intermittent. It seems to work perfectly sometimes, but it's kind of on the startup. It's either that there or it's, or it works perfectly. So I think it might be an earth issue. Maybe what they've done down here with the delete. I'll try and get some pictures of what it looks like OEM, and maybe try and improve the earth and see if that's it. Yeah, but overall I think the engine of it's pretty good condition. One of these lights is cracked. It's got all the LED lights on it, so it's only a 2 or 3 year old model. So I think with a good fix up, it should be more than adequate for what I need. I did spot kind of a design fault, or a design feature, I'd say. These kind of fair leads for these pipes, they've just sheared off. So this is the attachment plate, and there's a bolt that goes through the middle. It's a really long bolt, so that's probably one of the reasons it shears so easily. It's got a lot of rotation on it, and it's happened on the other side too. So I guess it's a design fault or a design feature. Maybe it's, if everything loads up, they want that to shear, so it break anything else. But the fact it's up on my above seems it's Creator Patrol, full alert. Yeah, similarly. So this is the hookup. Obviously, I've got nothing on here. It's manual attached, not automatic, which don't care about too much. I have it on the tractor and it doesn't really bother me. And most of attachments, you're hooking up the lines anyway. The bucket has lines on it. The grapple has lines on it. It's just the forks really. And yeah, this is high flow too, which don't really need, but maybe for something in the future. So this is just an electrical port. So upper and lower is kind of your main normal auxiliaries, and I think the middle one's like a relief that some things have on them. So if there's a jam in the system, it just releases the pressure through that. I'm not too sure, but I think I read that somewhere. It's got auto leveling on it, so if you're using, say, the forks, where I just got pick some forks up for it, you can basically press a button, and as it rotates up, it doesn't rotate over, it stays horizontal, but it's also sheared off. Maybe they use some cheap bolts with these fittings, and because they've all kind of sheared off, so I have to kind of get that out somehow and put a new bolt in. But apart from that, it all looks okay. It's all just caked. This quick attach is kind of sticky. I really need to clean it all up and oil it down and stuff. And also a couple of the zits don't work either. So yeah, let's pop it open and see inside. I think it's just, this is kind of 2 bolts here, and the whole cab kind of opens and pivots back. Kind of expecting it's full of, you can kind of see a little bit, you can see in there. Hopefully the camera's going to adjust. Yeah, can't. So I think it's just going to be like same kind of base rock, bitumen mess in there. It'll take a while to clean out. I think these bolts are just on a retainer plate in the bottom. Or maybe not. No, this looks different than what I've seen before. So I might have to grab that as well. But I've seen them where they're just in a retainer plate, so you just open the top and the bottom one is fixed with a plate. We'll figure it out. Okay, so that's pretty much it for that bolt. This one isn't retained, I guess. I've definitely seen a few of them people do it, and it's got a retained plate in it. But so this one, you just have to get it on both sides with a spanner wrench. Then you can't get this out, so I guess you just have to make sure. I probably have to take these bushings out, but you just have to make sure the bolt's above this plate, I guess, so it doesn't just jam as it rotates up. So now, see, I've not done this before, but I probably can't do it with one hand. No, you can. Wow, that's pretty cool. It's very light. So I think as it goes up, it's going to hook onto this, so don't have to worry about it trapping you, especially do stuff on your own. Ugh. It gets a bit heavier as it goes. Yeah. Okay, that's probably pretty useless viewing, but you can see I did it. So it got a bit heavier as I got up. I had to use 2 hands. So, wow. Yeah. So it looks like people have just stuck bottles in here and all sorts. It's probably like 5 bottles. There's someone's shirt. Some Cheetos wrapper. What does all the hydraulics look like? I don't know if you can actually run it like this. You can actually start it running and then lift this, so it'll cut off. It'd be nice to see, but I don't really see any leakages, and I don't know what most of this is. Obviously this massive thing is connected to that's the hydraulic pump connected directly to the engine. All the wiring up here all looks fine. We have big rat problems up here, so that's a concern, definitely. Hopefully they don't like it in here. Yeah, so there it is. It doesn't look too bad. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. You can kind of see the kind of base rock, bitumen mix, cement. That's kind of what the whole thing's been like. So hopefully once we work at that, it should be good. Oh, this tank is actually the hydraulic tank. Because I didn't think about that. So this is the hydraulic, yeah. So this is the hydraulic top up. This is the, you can actually see it now. So the hydraulic gauge. Better view. Looks pretty good. Oh, I don't know what this is, but looks like a battery. It's just a battery line in there, no worries. guess, no, I don't know, it fell through the bottom or not. Yeah, you can see up there, it looks like a mess. A rat's nest. So, gonna have a look at that. Let's make sure there's no wires that are damaged. There's a fuse in there, that's fine. The cap's come off, so put that back on. Yeah, so extremely accessible generally. Sort of bonding cable up there from the base to the canopy. Oh, I think that's the breather top left there. I can zoom on this, no I can't. So I've actually got a new breather for it, so I'll go, it's for the hydraulic breather, so I'll switch that out while I've got this up. I think it's pretty simple. Yeah, apart from that, I've got a bit of trash to clean up. And I think the bell is quite sealed. It's got a few holes in it for drainage, but obviously they get blocked up pretty quickly when it's like this. But you can pop the panels off front and back. Yeah, these guys. So then you can really flush it out without it being a bathtub. Way not to use your tracks as the workbench when you got nothing else around. So I'll clean that out a bit, change that breather while I'm in here, and then close it up. Maybe I can show the inside. So this is that breather out, the old one, and then new one. It's super simple. It's just hand tight thing. Well, I opened it with my hand. There is a plastic nut on there, but I don't think you need to use it. It's because it's all the threads, plastic, and everything. Okay, so I'll stick that back in. Maybe I'll give this a bit of a spray. Take those panels off. See if I can get it cleaned up a little bit. I ain't got a lot of time today for this, so just kind of try and clean it a little bit while I'm in here, and then need to use it a bit. And its keep. Okay, and stepping inside, let's have a quick look. So we got a couple of armrests and a high-vis seat belt. The left armrest is kind of like the shut off, so as soon as you open that, you're not doing anything. Pretty basic in here. We've got a light. Don't really know what that's for, if it shuts off your auxiliary or not. If you've got the rabbit mode on, you can press the back button on the trigger here and go high speed mode. This is bucket level, so it actually keeps the bucket horizontal. Sensor's actually off at the moment, so I need to reattach that so that works, because at the moment the sensor just rocks around. This is kind of cut off, it's just like parking brake, but it does actually, every time you lift the handle or get in and out, maybe wait on seat as well, it'll trip on the screen, and you have to compress this before the hydraulics or the drive models will work. Key. Keys are pretty generic. I bought 10 of them because I knew I'd lose some for like 15 bucks. But there is a security system, so when you go to, let's go through these first. So hazard lights on the right side here doesn't work. So I've got a bunch of spaces here where there would be other functions, I guess. This one I think is continuous hydraulic. So if you've got attachments that continuously spin, like brush mowers and things like that, you can set that on. Front and back lights, which are LED, and I think this is locking out your hydraulics completely. So it might be a good idea if you're running it and you're going to be working on it. and then the regular screen. Down here, indicators don't work at the moment, and then your RPM setting. So interesting with the RPM that it'll, when we fire it up, see this little command, and it'll want me to enter my code first. So once I've entered that, it'll say hello. I've not really understood the sequence yet. Like now I've done that, I won't be able to just turn it. I kind of have to just turn it back and turn it on again. And this will all reset because I turned it off. I turned the ignition off. But now it'll give me this message. Basically wants it to get, I think it's like 72 Fahrenheit up here. So on here we've got fuel's pretty low, voltage, RPM. That's mileage, so 26 hours, sorry, 2600 hours. And you can see as I vary on the button, the RPM will change, so it's got a live RPM there. And then hydraulic temperature, I think, water temperature. And then backward camera, which is a little bit intermittent, but it generally works. I think it's a grounding issue. We can see here on the symbol I've got the bucket level, so if I turn that off and on, you can see, and most of those things pop up like that. And down here we got like a snail mode, we got the horn, and I think these extra buttons are kind of for auxiliary functionality. The bottom button is, as I said, if we click that, it'll go to running. If it's on. Why that's not working, maybe because the parking brake's on. Yeah, so now I press that trigger button on the left and the rabbit will come on and off. And if that's off, it looks like that's locked in, so I guess it's off now. Yeah, so that kind of locks it depending on when you've got it on. It's kind of interesting. I thought it would have disabled that a little bit. And then, kind of going through these menu buttons, you've got pretty generic settings. It's not really that involved. This one is probably the best because you can go in here and preventive maintenance, so you can look at when all the things were done, so last oil change, and how. So it's kind of when the interval, and then when it was last done. So you can kind of skip through and have a look. So it looks like everything was done kind of recently, but I'll probably go through all of them and do them again. I don't think there's an air filter one on here. No, I've already done the air filters, so got the rest to go through. And then just a bunch of kind of pretty much administrative items. If you had any codes, like error codes, it would pop up on here. When the other battery was in and it was having a bunch of battery problems on starting, it would flag up a lot of voltage errors on there, but they all went away when I put the new battery in. And you can see the error's gone now, so we could in theory I don't know why it's got the hydraulic light, it's kind of weird. I'll try and do it and see. So the right hand, this kind of this toggle on the left, this wheel toggle, is kind of like the pretty normal third attachment I'd be used to. So if we if we weren't locked out on the hydraulics, this would work with the hydraulics, so back, forward, oh, it's because we've got it locked out here. Okay, so that's what that switch definitely does. So I'm still learning some of this. And I think it would be we got some emergency stuff that happens as well, if any warning signs come on. So pretty much very similar to kind of a tractor, what I've used. On the right side, you can up and down. So it'll take us up, down, There's a bunch of auxiliary buttons here, so that the kind of default button that I'm used to with the tractor for the third attachment, this toggle is it. So you can see this is a third attached bucket. Let's just drive somewhere so I can show that off. So now it won't move very fast with the revs so low, but if we put it to like 2200, say, on there, and it'll kind of, I can pretty much operate it. I'll take the tree out. Dead easy, kind of left, right, it'll rotate left, right, back, forward. It's kind of, if you ever played computer games, it's pretty intuitive really. And then the bucket, it's kind of up, down, left, right will rotate it, down, left will rotate it up. And then these auxiliary, wheel toggle here is actually kind of the default setting. So if you ever had a third attached tractor, it's kind of the same. Because this is a 4-in-1 bucket, you utilise it quite easily really. Apart from that, I think that's pretty much most things. I think this is auto let your bucket down, so if your bucket gets stuck or something, this is a quick pull on the window seal, so if you get trapped from the front, you can use this as kind of a egress opportunity. A lot of the panels in here are absolutely disgusting. I might have a look to clean those up a little bit or replace them if they're quite cheap. This unit back here is like an additional, it's like an equipment handler. It's GPS and I think like cellular. Probably kind of pointless out here if it communicates in cellular because there is no cellular out here. Fuses in here. There's a connection port there, maybe for like maintenance attachment. Probably like a OBD2 kind of variant thing. In the back seat there's actually a manual, which is yeah, the manual's kind of chained to the seat. It's kind of funny to see how they don't want that going missing, or it's pretty normal that they would go missing. That's pretty much it inside. I mean, it's dirty as hell, but I think that's part because it's not a sealed cab, and I think even here it would be always dusty unless I get it sealed. Maybe I'll just get the side sealed. I kind of like having the front not sealed because you can leave the bucket like 25% up or something and just jump out if you're just tying on some straps or something, or whereas with the door, I think as soon as this is up a little bit it blocks it. Maybe I'll do some kind of DIY effort. I really like the ones that lift up, but obviously for tall people like me that's going to affect your headroom, so it's whatever the best compromise is. But I think with dealing with a lot of trash like this, inevitably something's going to come back and try and poke you in the eye. Okay, I tried a different configuration. I had to move it over to where my spotter was, and yeah, obviously if you put the arms up you get a lot more access in here, so if you are working on it that makes a world of difference. Like all this was blocked before. You can see the breather I've just put in. You can see the tank here as well for the hydraulic clearer. You can't see in there. So yeah, I'm going to clear all that out. So I don't know if I'm going to siphon it or I've seen you can just use the hydraulic auxiliary, so basically just hook up a pipe with no end on it and pump it into a couple of pails or something. What else did I notice? Oh yeah, so this is this protection mechanism so it doesn't fall. And I think what's happened here is this is all squashed. I think this is like a good safety mechanism, so maybe back it down to like within an inch or so you're not like getting yourself in a place that it can come down, but it looks like they've backed it down with this and got it trapped somehow. So the idea is you put this down and then when you drop it, it's like a one-person operation, so that'll lift this back up on its own over the top, so you can go in and drop the pin in. And as we drop the hydraulics, let's just go up again. So it's the hydraulics up, focus, and then as the hydraulics come down, see it pushes the bar up. So it's like a one-person operation. So yeah, let's rinse it out and see what we can do. So I'll drop this front door off, so you can't even see it. So I'm hoping all of that's just going to fall out when I do. And then there's one on the back. So I tried to park it on a hill, so we'll get a lot of run for the water. But I'm not sure how much of this is solid or it's just like this. It's just kind of like base rock. Yeah, some of that's solid. Okay, so we've been cleaning. This is insane. So there's actually a huge trapdoor in the middle, which is great. You just have to like lift the thing up with the bucket. So I still can put it back on. Just not the hydraulics yet. And lifted it up, and you can get under there, and there's like 5 bolts, and that just drops out. And there's a front trapdoor here. Eek. So that one's come off. But this is probably like 4 or 5 inches deep here with like bitumen, rock. It's not as bad back there. It's mainly been like, I mean there is some, but it's a lot of mud, so you can really undermine it with the jet washer. Here it's been like 2 inches. It was all the way along on this side too. Just a mess. So the whole hydraulic bucket was completely just tarred up. So it's all looking a lot better really. Coming up I can see the suspension struts now. I think they're part of the kind of flexible track suspension. Kind of comes through to here. There's 2 on that one there. Yeah, so with this here, I'm actually just whacking it with a chisel. You can, oh yeah, it's quite apart now. You can see the consistency of that. It's pretty much like a freshly laid road inside the skid steer. Oh, yeah, I need to get the chisel. So keep working on it. Okay, I'm a lot happier now. Said I didn't want to spend much time on this today. It's probably been 4 hours. So you couldn't even see these before. It was just level with this. So I think the biggest thing is now water can drain to these holes. Before it was just getting trapped probably, and that was probably going to be the biggest issue. Still need, I think, a degrease, but I think getting all that material out, you can kind of see here through this one. I don't know what the other one's like underneath, probably similar. And all the trash and crap inside it is ridiculous. So we got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bottles. So I think that's pretty much it for now. I'm going to close it up. I'm going to leave it like that. I want to do the hydraulic bleed on it. I want to exchange all the hydraulic fluid on it next. So I'm probably just going to hook up a pipe to the auxiliary, pump it out into a tub, and then and put all new hydraulic fluid in, and then switch out the filter behind, because that's really the thing on this that scares me the most. Yeah, I'll definitely try and do some more videos on it when I do more stuff. I may add a cab, just because in summer here it gets extremely dusty, so it'll be impossible to like keep inside clean or not wear a mask until we get a lot more gravel down like this. Yeah, I think it's going to be like keep cleaning it, and we'll get rid of a lot of the kind of road tar and cement, and then it'll just be we've got mostly soil here, so more forestry type environment, so maybe get some twigs, soil in there, but hopefully not as damaging as bitumen, tar and cement. That bucket also needs a bit of a refurbishment. Yeah, so hope that was enjoyable. Any questions or any tips, I'd love to hear them.